This is CludoQuest, a standalone adventure for HeroQuest that supports 1 to 4 players. It combines the HeroQuest game system with Clue, the classic detective game. No Zargon or Game Master is required to play this, and due to its unique setup, the scenario never plays out the same way twice. Now, I created this using the 2021 Avalon Hill edition of HeroQuest, but you can use the 1989-90 edition if you would like. All of the components will work just fine. I also used the 2023 Hasbro Games Clue, which I like the board art and the way that it fits with the 2021 Avalon Hill HeroQuest. And in particular, I really enjoy the hyper-detailed figurines that they included, which I like to recommend that you use these as proxies for your HeroQuest heroes, just to fit the mood. You don't have to, though. You can use your HeroQuest figurines. The important thing is that you start on the character's starting space. Having your party start split up is part of the dynamic of this game. But that being said, you can use any core Clue set so long as it has your basic original Clue map. So some themed Clue sets like Harry Potter or Golden Girls won't work because they have themed maps. Now that being said, we're not going to get too into the weeds with the rules. I have the full rule set online. There's a link in the description. Check it out. It's completely free. I've just got a nice little PDF put together that includes the backstory for this, which isn't as in-depth as the last scenario I made, Candy Quest, that combined Candyland and HeroQuest. That was a little bit more reliant on the story. This one, there's a nice setting here. This evil necromancer has taken over this mansion here, and the ethereal glow of the mist that he uses to conjure his creatures pollutes the land. Heroes must race to find the Shadow Blade, a mystical dagger used to remove the necromancer's heart and grant him immortality. Only this Shadow Blade can be used to destroy the necromancer's power and lift the darkness that terrorizes the lands. It's a lot of fun. There's a little bit more of an in-depth explanation in the rules, but there's your basis here. We have the Dread Sorcerer in the center with his little sorcerer's table. This is going to be our dungeon here, and throughout the game, he's going to conjure monsters for you to face. When you set up the game, you will place the 6 Clue weapons randomly amongst the 9 rooms, and then each one of the rooms will receive a treasure card that's face down. Your hero will only reveal if it's a hazard, wandering monster, or helpful potion when they search that room. Now, for purposes of navigation and ease with combat, the rooms in Clue are going to be treated like a single large space on HeroQuest that can accommodate as many heroes or monsters as need be. And in this instance, every single room is large enough that you can in fact fit all 4 heroes and the maximum number of 6 wandering monsters at one time. So be warned. However, that being said, movement throughout the map is the same as HeroQuest. However, we all know Clue has those classic secret passageways. Heroes can use those secret passageways, monsters cannot, so this can be used to your advantage if you are overpowered by a horde of wandering monsters. Now, another unique thing, I like the dice that come with the 2023 Clue because they have these little red magnifying glass icons for the 1. But you can use any D6 for your movement dice. You're going to use 2, just like in HeroQuest. However, if you roll a 1 or the magnifying glass icon, that spawns in a wandering monster using the necromancer's power, and this monster attacks you immediately, just like if you were to encounter a wandering monster in the regular HeroQuest. You do not get to move 1 for rolling a 1. It only spawns a monster. You must settle that attack first before you can proceed with your action and movement as a hero. So you can see where every time you're trying to move throughout the mansion, there's a risk of an encounter, and you can encounter up to 2 monsters at once. Now, there's a maximum amount of 6 monsters allowed on the board, and this was settled simply by how we did this basic tracking system when creating this scenario. So the proxy for the necromancer is going to be the Dread Warrior. However, there is a special rule. If at any time one of the hero characters is killed while playing the scenario, he regenerates to full health. Also, the goblins will be proxies for these little demon guardians that the necromancer has placed in any of the rooms that also have weapons. These are to add an extra challenge and protect the weapons. However, That means that these guys cannot be encountered as wandering monsters. Both the Goblin and the Necromancer are trapped in their respective rooms. The Necromancer will never leave the dungeon to pursue heroes, and the Goblins cannot leave the rooms because they are assigned to protect those specific weapons. Now, that being said, that leaves 6 other possible monsters: the Orc, the Abomination, the Mummy, the Zombie, and the Skeleton. So we have, oh, and the Gargoyle, I'm sorry. So we have 6 possible monsters you can encounter. You shuffle this deck and place it next to the board here. And if you happen to roll a 1 or a magnifying glass, or flip a treasure card while searching a room that encounters a wandering monster, you flip this over to see what kind of monster you're facing. Now, if you happen to have drawn all 6 of them and all 6 are in play, if you happen to roll another 1 or reveal a wandering monster with a card, you just disregard that. It's a difficulty cap in the game, because once you have 6 wandering monsters in play, you've got a lot on your plate. But that being said, flipping the treasure card once you get into one of these rooms counts as an action, so it's like searching the room. And if you flip a treasure card that's on top of one of the clue weapon cards, you have to settle that wandering monster or hazard before you can pick up the weapon. There's also the chance that you get a potion, in which case you get both the weapon and the potion at the same time. But picking up weapons is as easy as collecting the card once you've killed the Goblin and searched the room. Or if a hero dies and they had a weapon in their possession, you place the clue weapon on the space where they died, and if another hero navigates over to that space, they collect the weapon. That way you can, in fact, hand off weapons. I should mention you can do that without dying. If 2 heroes are in adjacent spaces, you can also use an action to trade weapons. So if, let's say, Scarlet, who in this instance I have her as the wizard, who's particularly squishy, and the final killing blow on the Necromancer has to be a physical with the Shadow Blade, well, she can decide to hand that off or trade with Colonel Mustard, who's playing as the Barbarian. So you can see some advantages there. Now, like I said, players will all start in their unique positions here, and it is worth trying to regroup. However, that being said, I have seen scenarios where even though the 4 players are technically cooperating, sometimes if you want to be the one who finds the Shadow Blade, somebody can get a little overzealous and overextend themselves. What's neat about the random setup of the game is you never know how many wandering monsters, traps, or potions are in any one of the rooms, because there's more treasure cards than there are rooms, so you're only getting a percentage of them pre-dealt, and you can't procure them any other way in the game. There's also no predicting how many wandering monsters are going to spawn at any one time, given that anytime that you roll a 1, you get a wandering monster. So this game can get hairy really quickly. However, I've also seen play scenarios where Mrs. Old Crappy Couch was actually playtesting this, and one of her rounds that was more successful, she only had to defeat 1 goblin to find the Shadow Blade and immediately be able to go after the Necromancer. Now, what's funny is she started rolling a bunch of 1s on her way, and she ended up getting chased by like a whole hallway full of monsters. And that's where she introduced me to another fun gameplay mechanic. Like I said before, you can use the secret passageways in the 4 corner rooms, and monsters cannot. This is helpful in instances where the monsters have a longer range than you're able to roll, and you need to try to kite them away or try to get them away from the entry to the dungeon so you can make your way down there. So there were some scenarios that I was thinking were kind of like in those Scooby-Doo cartoons where you see them in a hallway full of doors and the gang is running through with the monsters chasing them, where Mrs. Old Crappy Couch is just going from secret passageway to try to aggro the monsters far enough away. But I could even see scenarios where, like, if you have the wizard, you can kite the monsters towards the barbarian, because the monsters, without Zargon or a game master, the monsters must always pursue the nearest hero, and if there are 2 heroes at equal distance, they must always pursue and attack the hero with the highest body points. So in this instance, the barbarian is always the physically toughest one on the board to start. So yes, you can actually cause some havoc by dragging a gargoyle over and just saying, "So long, have fun, guys," which I thought was pretty neat. Other than that, this is just one of those fun little scenarios where you can use a pre-existing hero. However, I would say It wouldn't be something that I would allow bringing like pre-existing items into the game because it'll throw off the balance. But if you want this to be like a side quest for one of your pre-existing heroes, yeah, just discard any physical items for it and bring them through. I don't see any reason why that would be so far out of the realm as far as giving you a massive advantage. Now, when you do procure weapons, they are useful. All of the weapons give your hero a +1 attack advantage. The special thing about the Shadow Blade is the killing blow on the Necromancer has to be the Shadow Blade. So that's the one kind of sticking point, but I think that that's a pretty fair rule modifier as it gives you a MacGuffin to search for, and it still gives valuable power-ups to everybody else in the field. So I'm curious, I want you all to try this out, get a copy of the rules, see what you think, and let me know what your adventures were like. Did you find it too easy? Did you find it to be too hard? I thought it was a mix. I had some times where it felt like a breeze and other times where I got absolutely whomped. So, you know, I think I got the difficulty balance on this to be quite enjoyable, and I want to hear what you think. What other mashups should we be doing? Should we be combining 2 other different games, or is there another game out there that you think HeroQuest will fit with? Why don't you comment below, let me know. Maybe we'll make it happen. Thanks to my couch potatoes, the channel members who make awesome videos like this possible. You guys rock. Thank you for tuning in and watching. I love doing these awesome board game videos for you, and I can't wait to see you next time.